I wouldn't say I really mind. You know, I'll explain again what happened. I'll try a slightly different course of explanation. I want to focus on why knowledge isn't power in a case like this. Okay, so we'll start with the knowledge of what's really happening. Okay, I've seen UW Dialectical, and I know that Hollywood is constructing an arc of colors, a media mecha puppet show. From all over the world, oligarchs are in place, loyal to the franchise of the ultimate outcome, a totality under their domination. Some people have said things that ring true to me. People before profits rings true to me. It's not that they can't feed the world, but that the greedy are insatiable. Well, rhetoric aside, bumper stickers aside, we're dealing with real deception. If you look at a Hollywood movie, Spike Lee, for example, it's politically incorrect to say certain kinds of things, yet for dramatic effect, he gets to do it in this movie from all sorts of different directions. He has an Italian, a black, and Asian all yammering in different politically incorrect things to one another. This is a control formula for the Hollywood media mecha puppet show. It's a talking box that represents all sides. So they just preserve the sides and control the talk while they do various things to confuse people about what sort of conflict is going on. String pullers, and they're proud of it. For them, assassinating Kennedy was watching the puppets dance. Now, how they got control of it is relatively old news. They staged a formulaic fantasy from James Bond world, Ian Fleming, Alan Dulles, John Lennon, and those guys, to get control of people's loyalties in the chambers of the mind. But how they proceed is very interesting. They hit both sides and pretend the feud is going on. It's insatiable. In Seattle, people put up signs saying hate leads to fear, leads to, fear leads to hate and so forth. But in Pittsburgh, they say no one will change until they're afraid of us. And they form fight clubs and they're just obsessed. They come out and they want to see their side win. And they think they're seeing their sides win when they victimize certain people. Like Bobby Kennedy's assassination made clear that the killers of Martin Luther King were hitting both sides. But it was a lesson that wasn't learned for very long. A black fight club, ingeniously in the Green Party, got away with killing Cersei Kennedy, saying they were defending a Goebbels character from the Green Party, literally praising Goebbels, who was supposedly defending the JDL. That's how these shysters operate, and they're not going to stop. I mean, nothing you can say about them is going to stop. But knowledge is knowledge, even if it isn't power. I grew up in a Jewish Holocaust survivor community. I was educated far too little, far too young an age, of the tragedy of the Jewish Holocaust survivors. And they were ruthless to me. But I did learn certain things, like I read in depth before my heart started racing from a bad chemical I was given by UW Dialectical, white on white crime, I should point out. To honor the black man, I should also point out. That's how UW Dialectical works. They get a UW criminal who's white to poison the white liberal to honor the black man. You get the idea. I mean, I'm sure you have some depth. So what one of my readings, one of the things that came up, it really struck me. It reminded me of Mick Jagger singing in a German guttural, was the story of a concentration camp guard who was told by his agency not to shoot any more Jews because the bullet is worth more than the Jew. He was like, it's a divine revelation. How could this be? He was Mysterian, um, ensorcelled, and it froze up his capacity to comprehend, and he as though seeing a divine revelation. Well, there's some people who are like that, unless they come to some. They put up signs in Wilkinsburg when the gangsters are getting really hostile towards innocent people, and there's drive-bys and people and children. You read about it, get winged, trying to convince them not to pull the trigger, and they say love, and it's like telling this concentration camp guard that the bullet is worth more than the Jew. It's like, how do you freeze up the moral sensibility so that somebody doesn't do something from their um, broken down moral sensibilities in bloodthirst to win some idea that's been registered into their mind by the fake feuding of Hollywood dialectical. Pittsburgh also likes to say trying to talk your way out of it. And this becomes a provincial ethic, they call it. A provincial ethic, they call it. You don't try to talk your way out of it. That ain't Fern Hollow gang sacred, It gets it's pretty scary and serious, believe me. And what they're doing is spinning a story. They call it spinning the mirror in their rhetoric, in their lyrical symbology, all wanked to super music. Spinning the mirror means get them to look at themselves so they don't see behind the looking glass at the string pullers. So, don't underestimate the bloodthirst. What they do is they in the background, they target somebody so that they can therefore target somebody and this goes in the minds of the people in the fight clubs who think that the world is a PlayStation for their weird ego gratification. And believe me, the open mic bully situation in Seattle underwrites that. That in Seattle, they are very, very serious ripper hatters when it comes to this kind of thing. They are totally out of control. If you think Putin's mongering, you should see what the Trumpy tunes are mongering from the so-called Seattle left. And you say, oh, that's a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. It's UW dialectical with the Hollywood talking box is what it is. So no, work on knowledge, even though knowledge isn't power. It's a sad situation.